The following thoughts and opinions regarding this album are strictly of my own personal interests. I am not a professional music reviewer. I do encourage respectful discussion and friendly banter of each episode, but I do not condone and will not tolerate bullying or belligerence of any kind.
Well, hey there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Rate the Record podcast, episode 109. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm your host, Chris. As always, doing these music reviews, commentary, whatever you want to call it, I'm here to do this for the Rate the Record podcast. Glad that you decided to join me today. And if you like what you see and or hear today, doesn't matter how you're taking in this content, listening to it, watching it, it doesn't matter. You could do one of these things, a bunch of these things, or all of these things to help support the show. It'd be greatly appreciated. Like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, and follow. There you go. 6 quick, free, and easy things that you can do to help out this show, build up in the algorithm, more eyes and ears on the prize, and just more people to join along in this little podcasting journey that I'm doing, listening to music and such. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you want to know all the places in which you could do those things, you can go visit ratetherecord.ca. That is ratetherecord.ca. Over there, you'll find all the streaming links, all the social media links, the merchandise link, and of course, if you want to join the RTR Club for $5 a month, you can do that too. It's optional, but the option is indeed yours. The RTR Club will get you early access to episodes. You'll get a shout out on social media. You can request albums for me to do on the podcast, and I'm figuring out more as I go along as well. That's the RTR Club, $5 a month. The option's yours. The show's always free though, but once again, all of that is found over at ratetherecord.ca. All right, I got to take a breath for a second because I had to get all the formalities out of the way. But if you've been to this show before, well, guess what? You know all about that. You know, I got to just plug things very quickly. So welcome back to the show. I'm glad you're here, and I hope you enjoy your stay once again, as you have been in the past, and I hope you have more fun listening to music with me, as you have in the past. But if you're new here, well then welcome to the show altogether. I am glad that you decided to give this whole thing a chance, and you can discuss music with me, just like everyone else does. And if you don't know what I do here on the podcast, well, I'll break it down very simple for you. Each week, I will choose an album. It can be completely at random. It can be celebrating some sort of anniversary or milestone event. It could be a request. It doesn't matter. I will listen to the entire song right here on the show, but only in chunks, just so copyright doesn't kick my ass. I will give you my thoughts and opinions on the songs and then on the entire album at the end. And then, of course, the mainstay of the entire podcast. I will rank the songs and then rate the record, as I always do. Title track of the podcast. There you go. Wow, I'm zooming through these much quicker than I ever have, and that's fantastic. Well, anyways, yes, welcome to the show. Glad that you're here, because today, for episode 109, we're taking a trip back to the late 80s with an alt-rock album. We've done plenty of alt-rock albums on the show in the past, back when there was 2 of us, but now it's me, and I'm bringing it back, baby. And it's one of those things I've wanted to do a while ago, too, but again, like, there's a lot of albums I wanted to do a long time ago, but obviously you can only do, like, one at a time, right? Anyways, the one I chose today, of course, you've seen it on the screen, you've seen the title, is Jane's Addiction and their 1988 album, Nothing Shocking, their debut solo studio album. No, it's their debut studio album. There you go. It's a whole group, not just an artist. No one named Jane in the band, period. But anyways, I'll tell you a little more about that, but specifically about this album. Nothing Shocking is the debut studio album by alternative rock band out of Los Angeles, California, Jane's Addiction. The album was released August 23rd, 1988, and was recorded at El Dorado Studios in California. The album was released through Warner Records Incorporated and was produced by band frontman Perry Farrell and Dave Jerden, whose portfolio consists of working with Frank Zappa, The Talking Heads, The Rolling Stones, Anthrax, The Red Hot Chili Peppers, and so many more. As of the recording of this album, the band consisted of frontman and co-producer Perry Farrell, guitarist Dave Navarro, bassist Eric Avery, and Stephen Perkins on drums. The album found big success across the board, being praised as a cutting-edge alternative album for its time. AllMusic gave it 5 out of 5 stars, Q and Rolling Stone gave it 4 out of 5 stars, Pitchfork gave it a 9.3 out of 10, and Kerrang gave it a 5 out of 5. The album peaked as high as 103 on the US Billboard charts, and was certified platinum in the US, gold in Canada, and silver in the UK. The album spawned 3 singles, Jane Says, Mountain Song, and Ocean Size. And there you go, you know a little bit more about the album now in case you didn't already, but chances are you're probably a bigger Jane's Addiction fan than I am, so you already know that. But if not, cool. We all know the same things now. Anyways, it's time to get this whole album started. As you can see, I got 11 songs here. I had to double check that it was 11 songs for the original release because the rules of the podcast are we only do the original releases on the show. And I had to find out if Pigs and Zen was part of the album or not. And it was only not on the vinyl version, but it was on every other version. So I'm going to go ahead and count that one as part of the release. And by the way, just in case the video viewers are wondering, aside from seeing Spotify here on the screen next to me, if things look a little different in the camera, it's because I'm using a new camera and trying to figure out the settings. It's not a webcam either. It's like a phone. So I'm testing this out to see if this will work. Hopefully it will. And hopefully it doesn't look too weird or choppy. But regardless, just thought I'd get that out there. But now on to more important things like this album. So let's listen to song number 1, Up the Beach. All right, song number 1 to kick everything off. Up the Beach. Now, to anyone with a keen ear, hearing the intro of the song might have brought you somewhere else, and that's completely fine. I mean, like, me too. And to explain that to people who don't know, well, just to keep it clear, I heard this song first in my life a long time ago, so I'm already aware of what this song is, but I can't help now, because of the song itself and the memes to follow it, that I only think of the song Beware by Death Grips, because it starts with the intro of this song, and it's actually, this whole song is like sampled in essentially, and then the whole like Charles Manson rant on top of that, but regardless, it's in case you didn't know where the sample came from, this is where the whole thing of Beware by Death Grips came from, just so you know. I like the song Beware too, so I like this one, I like that one. They're both used great, there you go. But not talking about Death Grips now, gotta talk about Jane's Addiction. Unfortunately, there's not much more to say about the song because not a lot's going on. It's a really good atmospheric start to the album. There's a lot of drawn out and echoing layers just kind of piled in that really have that arena filling quality to it. And I think that's really cool. So that just makes the album feel very big right off the top. And I really dig that. I really like it. So I guess I'll just move right on to song number 2 now because I don't have much more to say about the first one. So let's listen to Ocean Size. All right, song number 2 right there, Ocean Size. This one is definitely more of a true start to the album, and that tends to be the case with a lot of songs on a lot of albums, especially ones we've done in the past on Rate the Record, and I've said that many times too, where a lot of times the first song just kind of feels like just the introduction type style, where the second song is like, this is what the album is going to be right here. And I think this one's kind of a good indicator of that, so maybe it's just my opinion, but that's the way I feel about it. And I mean, you can really feel that balance of alternative rock, which really at the point of this album being released hadn't even hit its peak yet. So that balance of alt rock and then the rock and metal of the 80s are combined really well in this song. I mean, all over the album too, there's several points of it, but I think it's done really well here, so points to that as well. And there's also a really good back and forth energy in the song too, because the division of the acoustic parts that are layered out in between really helps give different touches of life to the song. And I, once again, really appreciate that too. There's different things to feel, different things to go within the song, and you always kind of know where you are because of it. So yes, good stuff. We're off to a good start. Let's see how good it can stay with song number 3, Had a Dad. All right, song number 3, Had a Dad. So there's a few things I can say about this song, and I know you can really say anything about many of the lyrics in this album. A lot of them have meanings behind them, some of them don't. They're just kind of writing lyrics type deal, but this one I know it does, and I'll get into just a minute. The first thing I want to give it praise for is the extra use of percussion that you can hear in the background of the track. I think that's really nice. There's definitely shakers going on somewhere, especially in the verses. Not certain about the choruses, though. I don't know if you want to refer to them as bridges or choruses, but I digress. The shakers kind of add this like nice light texture in the background, really kind of amps up the bit of the groove and the just like progression of the song altogether. So I do really like that. And speaking of that, I don't know if it's a chorus or bridge type thing. One thing I also really like, and again, if you've watched the show before, you know I praise this all the time, but the heavy use of tom drums that just kind of roll along and help drive that part of the song along is really, really cool. I always like that. It just adds more of an intensity to it, so I really, really do appreciate that kind of thing for when I listen to albums, I should say. But yeah, for the lyrics, I've heard they can actually go a few ways because I was curious about it myself. So it's either about like dropping religion out of your life almost completely, which I mean, I guess I can see where that comes from, but I don't think that's the actual cause or case of the actual song. It could be about parental abandonment, which I don't think it's going to be that one either. Although again, I could see where some people would see the line in that. But one thing I was reading from a lot of people that actually kind of resonated with me and made sense was the fact that the song is like about humanity and just humanity crumbling essentially. After reading the lyrics, I feel inclined to agree. Just makes the most sense to me. So interesting lyrical content going on here, still with some really great instrumentals and just great composition choices as well. So we are indeed off to a good start on this album. So now we can move on to song number 4, Ted, Just Admit It. There you go, song number 4, Ted, Just Admit It, and you could really feel the 7 minutes and 22 seconds that song was. It felt like a long one while sitting here listening to it, so you can only imagine just by hearing that number. But regardless, yes, Ted, Just Admit It. So big question right off the top. So I did indeed read that Flea, bassist of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, provided trumpet on this album, which we do hear trumpet a little later on the album. You'll hear that come back. But in the beginning of this song, there was like fake trumpet noises. Does that also include his credit? Like, is that part of his trumpeting credit? I don't know. It sounds like something he would probably do, so I don't know. A weird little addition to the beginning of the song. Maybe you just wanted to add more layers and texture. I don't know. I'm not super into it, but at the same time, whatever it is, what it is, it's fine. This one generally, for at least the first half of the song or so, is a generally far more chill vibe going on for that first little bit. But then it does kind of pick up more intensity. It's tacked on more as the song progresses, and then we get to a faster, more energetic second half of the song as well, especially towards the end. So that was really cool. I like that build up. It did make that 7.5 minutes a little easier to get through by like listening to this progress slowly but surely. And again with the lyrics too, because I mean, Ted Just Admit It seems like a little straightforward. Well, there was a couple of giveaways that this was about Ted Bundy. If you listen to the lyrics, that's one thing, but also they used an audio sample from an interview of him in this song too. Yeah, and this whole song is supposed to be like a call and answer to these comments Ted Bundy made, saying that first off, he was innocent and that he didn't do the murders, and then the second part saying that he he blamed it on a porn addiction. So, yeah, that's kind of a weird back and forth mindset. We're supposed to believe you when and how. Well, I mean, we all probably know about Ted Bundy, so I don't gotta go too in depth into that anyways. It's fine. But yeah, this song though, overall, pretty decent. I do like it. It goes on for a long, long time, but at the same time, it's just like, whatever. I like the build. It was fun. So now we move on to song number 5, Standing in the Shower, Thinking. All right, very abrupt ending to that one. Song number 5, Standing in the Shower, Thinking, because there's a ... there, so you gotta have that pause in there for a little bit. This song seems fun and bouncy enough, but I mean, I feel like this one definitely takes a step back as compared to the other songs. And not that every track has to outdo one another. I get that. That's fine. These tracks do happen. It's fun enough, but yeah, I don't know. It just, in comparison, this one's not doing it for me. It's not the worst thing I've heard, but I mean, not as high on this one as I was some of the other ones too. And also a critique I have for this song is one I've had for many RTR episodes in the past, for many songs that have been covered on this show in the past, the unnecessary phaser effect being used on anything. Very rarely does the phaser effect sound good used on anything. It's very cheesy and tacky. Even if you go back to the 90s, 80s, 70s, like when that phaser effect started to come more prominently into music, it rarely sounded good, I should say. Very, very few instances. I don't think it sounds very good here. I wonder why it's ever used in production at all sometimes, and this is definitely one of those cases. I don't like it here. Seems unnecessary, didn't add anything to the song. That's just me nitpicking, but what can I say other than what I just said? I can say that we'll move on to song number 6 now, Summertime Rolls. Okay, song number 6, Summertime Rolls. Another one of the lengthy numbers on this album, but that's okay. Super cool intro with this one, although it's a bass line that kind of runs through the entire song. I think it works really well as an intro, like that little shuffling bit. And it mirrors a lot of the first track too in that way, but that's fine because I do like the first track as well. And then you have the introduction of the guitars and vocals that come in very soft, and I thought that was very welcome, very good stuff. And there's obviously like touches of psychedelic all over this entire song, including like, you know, the reverbed and watery guitars that kind of drone through the background for almost the entire song. So that was really nice just to kind of float on the song a little bit. We have something of a come down point in the song, though it does get a little heavier in the second half, but that's okay. And the build up to that peak in the second half too was actually really nice. I did appreciate that, but I will say I don't think it needed to be as long as it was. I think it could have like made its point a lot earlier, but I'm not going to like dox tons of points or anything like that for being just a little too long, whatever. It still sounded good. It stretched out a little bit at the very end there too, so it's just too bad that this wasn't like, I don't know, 5 minutes. Like this could have been a 5-minute track and like the perfect 5-minute track. I would have dug it absolutely. But that's just me. Still a decent track though. Still be curious to hear your opinion on it, but hold that thought, because now we have to go ahead and move along to song number 7, Mountain Song. Alrighty then, song number 7, Mountain Song. I just noticed too, and I didn't even notice when I was first going for my review of this, is right at the end there, you can actually hear it being turned down on the soundboard. Like it's like not even gradual. It's like there's sound and then suddenly you can just hear the knob or like the slider being pulled down pretty quickly. I don't know, just a little production note, but that doesn't really dox points. It's irrelevant because I just noticed it now, so don't worry about it. But yeah, song number 7, Mountain Song. God, more excellent drum work in this song. I always point it out when I hear it because I really, really like it. I love a lot of the work on the toms that kind of go through most of the verses and everything like that. And it just adds a bit more thunderous energy to the whole track, which makes it just really exciting in that way. I do like that. And there were elements in the guitar solo too that happened towards the end there that felt like it was a wannabe Tom Morello guitar solo. And yes, I know this predates the Tom Morello crazy guitar shit as far as I'm concerned, at least for the mainstream eye. But it doesn't matter that it predates it. That's kind of what it reminded me of, so it made me chuckle a little bit. That happened. It sounded a little weird. I think he should have just went for a standard metal rock style of soloing, but whatever it is, and I don't hate it enough to like completely bash it or turn it down or anything, so there is that, I guess. And for the most part, the song feels very straightforward, but I do really dig the energy and like overall heaviness of the track. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy this one, and once again, I can see exactly why this is a single. It's very Very fun, very catchy, good stuff. Alrighty then, moving on to song number 8, Idiots Rule. Alrighty, just going to pause it there. I know there's like a few other words at the end, but it's fine. Doesn't really matter. Song number 8, Idiots Rule. The trumpet's back in this one, and I can definitely hear where Flea actually came in for real with the trumpet this time, at the very least. So there is that. But I am not going to lie. Not a huge fan of the horns in this song. I don't know. Once again, if you watch previous episodes of Freight the Record podcast, I've never been huge into horn sections. I'm just not, especially when they come out of nowhere. There was no other real introduction to them in this album. It just kind of popped up near the end, so it just felt kind of weird. Sounds kind of tacky. I don't know. I'm hard to please with that kind of stuff. Sorry, not sorry, I guess. The tone of the song overall is a lot on the higher end of it. Like, even to the bass, like there's not enough like lower end, unless you're talking about like certain parts of the track, but the verses a lot too are on the higher end, so it actually kind of makes everything feel a little bit hollow in the production, so it's hard to grab onto it too much and care for it too much. It's pretty consistent all the way through, but that's kind of to its detriment. Aside from like the bridge, nothing ever really changes. It's just the same thing, and I don't know, didn't really get me. It's bouncy, it's fun, I guess, but it's just not for me, let's say that much. So moving on from that then, we go on to song number 9, a song with many, many streams. I'm aware of that at the very least. Jane Says. All right, so song number 9, Jane Says, probably one of the more notable singles off of the entire album, probably in Jane's Addiction's catalog. I expanded the screen for Spotify a little more now, so you can at least see the number of streams. There you go, 129 million streams, cannot be wrong for that one, so there you go. But immediately in comparison with the previous track, the production is so much better on this one. It's full, it's rich, it's just better overall sonically. That's the best way to describe that. I really like it. It's just everywhere in my headphones. Just get lost in it very easily. It's very nice. And it's nice to have something of a ballady type of track like mixed into the track list and this far into the track list too, considering we're very close to the end at this point. It's just something that you need. It changes up the mood a little bit, but it's actually very much welcome. And it runs pretty similar all throughout, kind of like a couple of the other tracks did, but the overall sound and feeling of this one is actually a bit of a welcome change, as I've already kind of been saying. So I can more or less accept it. I'm fine with it. It's catchy too, just kind of like bouncing to it a little bit as you're listening to like that acoustic riff just going over and over again, with Perry just kind of like going off singing. But in a song like this, too, the lyrical content obviously is far more important in that regard than whatever the hell the instrumentals are doing. And as far as I can tell, this one is about a former housemate of Farrell's by the name of Jane, who apparently was pretty well off and had a pretty good job and everything like that. But she, like, you know, during the day, that's what she did. And then at night, she fell into drugs, and she was like in a relationship with an abusive drug dealer. And so it's just kind of like a reflection on this woman who more or less had her life together and just let it fall apart because of drugs and abuse and everything like that. So kind of an unfortunate story there, but I mean, that's the drug scene for you. Shit happens. It's not pretty. It's not fun. Remember, kids, don't do drugs. There you go. Don't say I'm not a responsible host. So we're damn near close to the end of this album. This next song is not even really a song, but we'll play it anyways, and you'll see what I mean if you've been listening along with me too. If you like pause what I'm saying and then listen to the songs and then tune back in, then you'll understand this isn't really a song, but let's listen to it anyway. Song number 10, Thank You Boys. Okay, I had to reset the song for some reason. It stopped working on my end, but it's good now. Song number 10, Thank You Boys. Yeah, and that's essentially it too. Song number 10, Thank You Boys. Interlude, outerlude, whatever you want to call it, that's essentially what this is. It's it's essentially an ender to the album, a little jazz ditty type of skit / interlude, whatever the hell you want to call it. Not much to it. I'm not really a fan of these things happening on albums. Not that it sounds bad, whatever. It's a nice jazzy little number, but I mean, I don't know. It feels like a filler. Like, just, you have to kill time. You have X amount of time left on the record, and you just have to fill it. And this is what they fill it with. Like, just, not everything has to make sense. I get it, but just at the same time, like, I don't know. This feels so useless to add. It could have trailed off at the end of the song. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Anyways, I'm spending too long talking about a song that's only 1 minute and 4 seconds. So we'll go with what feels like the true album ender, I guess. Song number 11, Pigs in Zen. All right, there it is then. Song number 11, Pigs in Zen, the final song on the album. It almost feels like more of an encore, which is fine. That's cool, I guess. It works as an album ender too. It's fine. I mean, it's going to have to because it's at the end of the album. But it definitely feels like more of an encore song, I will say that much. It feels a little more raw in its production too, as compared to some of the other tracks. Like, not 100%, but like something about it has just like kind of like quick done bit of alt griminess on it. I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's just something I'm kind of hearing a little bit. So I wonder if this song was like a quick last second add-on to the record. I don't really know. Because also too, for the most part, in a lot of chunks, it seems like it was improvised, or like some of it was just like a jam in some way. I don't know. Hard to say. I don't really know too much information about the song. I didn't find too much about it either. Maybe I didn't look hard enough. I don't know. But overall, it's not like a bad track at all. I like the heaviness in this one. I like the energy. This one's just a good way to cap everything off. So there you go. That concludes everything. And that is the end of Jane's Addiction's Nothing's Shocking album. So now, as I scroll over here and get Spotify off the screen, it's now time to rank the songs with the numbers here on the screen next to me. There you go. 1 through 11, or I guess it's going to be 11 through 1 because I always start from the bottom, work my way up. Worst to best, not so great to great, least favorite to favorite. However you want to cut the cake. You got to cut the cake and do it into 11 equal slices. I don't know math too well, so if you want me to do that perfectly, that's too bad. But I'm going to give it my best shot right now by going 11 through 1. And once again, I'm just going to rush through these and just get these out so we can then rate the record as we have to. And I'm stuttering a lot now, which means I'm probably getting to the end of this recording and I should probably stop talking at some point. So here we go. Song number 11, Thank You Boys. I think that one was pretty obvious. Song number 10, Idiot's Rule. Number 9, Standing in the Shower, Thinking. 8, Pigs in Zen. 7, Up the Beach. 6, Ocean Size. 5, Summertime Rules. 4, Had a Dad. 3, Ted, Just Admit It. 2, Jane Says, which means number 1 is Mountain Song. Yes, it is a single, but you know what? It's a damn good song. I actually like it better than Jane Says, even though they're ranked the exact same with the number, but Mountain Song just edges it out a little bit. Don't giggle when I say that. You know exactly what I mean. And here I am, the one who's actually like giggling at it and everything like that. So that's stupid. This is a pretty solid alt-rock album. Got a lot of decent tracks on it. Some not so great tracks. One in particular that shouldn't have been there. But the best part about hearing these songs too is you can hear exactly where the album is, not the album, but like the band goes with the next album. You can hear exactly where they improved on certain ideas and made things better, because their second album I think is fantastic. It's one of my favorites by them at the very least, even though their catalog's very small, but it's still really good. And maybe I'll do it on the show one day. I don't know. Wanted to start with this one though, and that's fine and dandy, but you know what's time to do now? First off, get off the screen the scores, because now it is time to rate the record. Exactly, it's time for the title track of the show. This should be fun. So now, looking at all my scores, and you can see them on the screen, how exactly did I think about this album? Well, if you do the math yourself, which I'm not going to make you do that, that's fine. I will tell you that we do indeed have another B tier album on our hands. B minus to be specific. It is 71.36. That's what this album is. A B minus tier album. I know maybe I'll catch a little bit of flack for that since the album did pretty well commercially. But you know what? I don't know. I think the songs that did really well did a lot for this album, and the songs that didn't just kind of like is what pulled it down a bit as a good overall solid project. But that doesn't matter. It's still a B tier album, and B tier is always fine on our show anyway, so don't even worry about it. It's good. I liked it enough to give it 71.36%. And with that said, we could just get rid of that too. That's off the screen. I don't have to clear anything else by clicking things. I could just say that is the end of this episode for the day. So thank you very much for sticking around and listening to the whole album with me and enjoying the album if you did. And if you indeed did, let me know down in the comments below of wherever you're listening, audio, video. It doesn't really matter because there's comment sections everywhere. Let me know what you thought about this album. Do you like it? Do you hate it? How would you rank the songs? How would you rate the record? Do you agree or disagree with anything that I've said? Let me know whatever you want down in the comments below, because that's kind of what this whole music commentary and community thing and discussion thing is supposed to be about, right? You are part of it, and I want to hear your opinion on it. And of course, there's many places that you can let me know your opinion and all that kind of stuff, and that's over at ratetherecord.ca. Again, that is ratetherecord.ca. The streaming links, the social media links, the merch link, the RTR Club, it's all found over there. So make sure that you're checking that out and following along and doing all those nice things to help the channel. Truly appreciated. Thank you very much. If you are indeed doing that, you are right here in my heart. I think that's where my heart is. I don't know. It could be down in my stomach for all I know. Anyways, I'm at the end. I'm just rambling at this point. So make sure that you're joining me again next week. It's going to be another request that was supposed to be done back in season 5. I shouldn't say it like that. It wasn't supposed to be done. We got it towards the end of season 5. So now I got to catch up on it. We have another request next week. It's going to be a good one, or at least I'm hoping so. I actually haven't heard it yet at the point of recording this, so it should be fun. So until then, go listen to some awesome music, and I'll see you next week. Take care, friends.